So you all know that the solution to a system of equations is the intersection point of the two curves. Here, we're going to talk a little more specifically about how you can use your graphing calculator to solve systems of equations graphically. So, as the directions read, use a graphing utility to solve the system of equations. Round your solutions to three decimal places. And again, whenever you read use a graphing utility, that means use your graphing calculator, which means we want to graph each one of these curves. And in order to graph a curve in your calculator, you must first isolate y. Well, if we isolate y in this first equation, we get y is equal to negative 4e to the x. And if we isolate y in the second equation, we get y is equal to negative 3x minus 8. Take each one of these equations and plug it into y equals, this would be y1, this would be y2 in your graphing calculator, your TI-84 as you will see here, and graph the functions at the same time. All right, and you might have to play around with your window a little bit. Notice that I've made some changes to my y max and y minimum values, but that allows me to clearly see that in this case, we have two different intersection points and two solutions to our system. So to find these intersection points, we are going to hit second, trace, select intersect, and then hit enter. So when you hit second and then trace, this is going to be the screen that pops up. You want to select intersection and then hit enter one more time. After you do that, you should see something where it asks you to find the first curve. All right. And using the left and right buttons, you should be able to toggle along one of the curves. And we want to be close to one intersection point. Okay. We're going to have to do these two solutions separately. So be close to one selection point, select a first curve, and you can actually switch between curves using the up and down arrows if you wanted to. Right? Notice it tells you right up here which curve you're looking at. We're going to hit enter to select that curve. It's going to jump to the next curve. You can double check up here, make sure it's selecting the next curve. And again, make sure you're close to this intersection point, right? We don't want to be down here because that's going to confuse the calculator. So make sure both of your selected points are nearest to this intersection point here. You're going to hit enter again. It will say guess with a question mark at the bottom of your screen. You're going to hit enter one more time, and it will spit out the intersection point. Here we have an intersection at negative 2.564, comma, negative 0.308. All right, that is one of our solutions. And to find the next intersection point, we're going to repeat the process again. Okay, hit again. Second, trace, intersect, and then hit enter. You have to do it twice. Now, you're going to have to toggle along this first curve. So use the left and right arrows to toggle along the curve and move closer to this next intersection point down here. All right, once you're relatively close to it, hit enter to select that as your first curve. When you hit enter, it should automatically toggle to the next one. And again, move down the curve so that you're closest to this intersection point. Hit enter again to select the second curve. When it says guess, hit enter one more time, and it will spit out the intersection point. All right, here we have our intersection at 1.016, negative 11.048. All right, 1.016 and negative 11.048. And that is using your graphing calculator to solve a system of equations. Again, you have to graph each of the curves and find their intersection points. If you have any questions on that, make sure you reach out and ask for help.